Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Eliali in this incarnation, and I am here today to talk about Jupiter in Cancer because we are very, very close of this entrance of this transit. Jupiter is a social planet that takes 12 years to go through the zodiacal wheel. Therefore, it spends more or less 1 year in each sign. It is going to enter in Cancer in June 9th of this 2025 until June 30th of 2026. Now, at the moment I am doing this video, we have already we have a Jupiter in Gemini going through the last degrees, but we can feel, the entrance of the movement of the next sign. The last time that Jupiter was here was in from July of 2013 to July of 2014. Also, the previous transit was from July of 2001 to July of 2002. This doesn't mean that the events are going to be repeated, nor in the individual or collective aspect, because the sky, it is not only one planet. The sky is dynamic, and all the factors are part of what we are transiting, are aligned with experiences that we are transiting. So the important thing is how we are transiting this individually. Also, it is going to depend in which area of our natal chart it is going through, what we need to integrate, and again, if there was circumstances that you didn't like, at those years that you remember, it doesn't have to be the same circumstance. And if something connected with that appears, it is because there is an opportunity of that, in that spiral, but Jupiter, it is a planet of growth, and its entrance is going to be given in a square with Saturn and Neptune in Aries. I'm going to make a comment at the end of this video talking more about social aspects, but I will expand in other videos because it is going to be very, very long. From a more mundane aspect, Jupiter rules the laws, topics associated with justice, philosophic conceptions, beliefs, religions, dogmas, traveling, the foreign traveling, and higher knowledge that in our society is very linked with, specializing ourselves in something. But considering that there is a need of create other structures regarding the educational systems, from my perspective, that higher knowledge of Jupiter, it is that knowledge that we are exploring at the service of the sense of the soul, and that's why it is superior. It is higher. It goes beyond what we know, but it is not only for the intellectual experience, because I think this could be a shadow of Jupiter, believing that we know everything of something. I have already the truth. This is a genuine search, a genuine seeking of elevation of consciousness. It is a seeking of connection with a higher truth. And this is going to depend on the process that each soul came here to experiment in this plane. And that knowledge applied to the path turns into wisdom. Jupiter, it is very linked with wisdom. It is the archetype of the master that we can all develop. Each one of us can develop. But this path to the truth has no end. There is always new things to be revealed, and Jupiter symbolizes our horizons, the purposes that we want to move forward and we want to experiment. It is an expansor, a planet that amplifies. It is very linked with our perception of abundance, growth, blessings, opportunities, and the seeking of sense. So it is said, according to the planetary dignities, that Jupiter in Cancer, it is exalted in here because, this planet has this quality of protection. It is called like the protector. And the energy of Cancer, it is very linked with this, taking care, protecting, nourishing from this archetype of the mother. So they have affinity of form in here. And the Cancerian energy, it is something that we all need to integrate. It doesn't matter if we are men or women in certain moments of reality, because if we have children, if we have to take care of ourselves, if we have to take care of our projects, that all requires nourishing and sustaining, the things that truly are creating a sense of security, emotional security. We all need that, the basic needs. So where Jupiter is transiting, it could generate this aura of optimism. There is this greater fluidness to connect with the confidence in what is presenting, which is something that can motivate us and motivate to explore life. And if it's touching planets in your natal chart, Jupiter could take the form of excess of confidence, excess of generosity, investing too much, in imbalance, energy, time, resources in something, especially if this is, in connection with the sun or with Venus, just for you to have in account, because Jupiter is seen like a benefic planet, but I don't like to see planets as benefic or malefic. I think that everything has its lights and its shadows. So it is also important to remind you that growth could also be given through the amplification of an energy that is already there, to find a sense. I mean, Jupiter could amplify the vision of aspects that respond to limitant patterns or beliefs, and precisely if we are aware of that, we can let go of, we can make other decisions, and will also, of course, amplify what we need to feed and what we need to develop to generate opportunities to feel abundant and blessed. So it is a very nice energy, because it is given in a cardinal sign, and because of the squares with Saturn and Neptune, this is about new beginnings. All the cardinals do this. Each time that the sun touches the 0 degree of the cardinal signs, we have solstices and equinoxes. The seasons are changing, so we are entering in a new season. Jupiter comes from Gemini, and perhaps we didn't feel that much the expansion, because we experimented the squares with Saturn, Saturn in Pisces, but it could be that many ways were opened, possible projects, connection, ideas, and right now in Cancer, it's time to choose what we truly feel that is nourishing our lives, what truly has sense and can participate of our path, and what not. So it expanded the principle of nutrition, growth in terms of family or home. It could be, for people having newborns, children, but also projects. This could be linked with opportunities of growth in relation regarding learning to take care of our emotional needs. Could being able to give that to other people with generosity and not from this seeking of validation, and vice versa, being able to receive that from people that are truly in the position of offering that. Jupiter in Cancer can mean resignification of experiences of the past, finding a sense in situations of the past familiar situations that perhaps generated imbalances once or not. But everything that comes from the past is to create expansion in the present moment. We have to find the perspective. I think there could be an amplified empathy, the comprehension of the core of our own emotions, how we are feeling, how we feel in determined circumstances, allows us to also comprehend other people and to take actions in ways that we could contribute to unity, to family, to the tribe, from a symbolic experience, but also connecting with people with which we are feeling at home. We feel in family, we feel safe to share intimacy or to create community. These could be new people, but our souls are recognizing each other, or it could be that people are returning, from the past, but with an evolutionary purpose. This is something that is going to bring growth to our experience. So this could be a transit of healing, also familiar situations, and I am not talking about, if you had experiences with members of your family that generated distance because you couldn't sustain those relationships. This is not about forcing ourselves to, come back to relationships that we don't feel that are contributing. In some cases could be that, there is a healing between family members, if that responds to the evolution of the parties, but in some cases not. It is more this freedom that is enabled through seeing a purpose and to extracting a learning from those experiences, and a freedom that is being born from letting go of stagnant emotions. That is basically forgiveness. So could be linked with that. I think this will be civilized because this is something that we have been seeing the last years. Ways of educating children that are coming up from emotional development and from the genuine recognition of what children need. It is not what we are giving to children through the traumas that we have experimented. It is very common, I experimented this, so I give this to my child. That is not always the certain way. It is a learning, or giving to the child what we acquired from a mandate. So this is about learning to raise other people, to raise children with greater wisdom and consciousness. Children are the future leaders. They are going to conform the society of the future. So it is very important to do whatever thing we can do to change patterns of emotional invalidation, for example, to not point the emotions as a sign of weakness, which is something that is still today it is perpetuated. In fact, it is the opposite. Learning to feel them and to manage them, it is something that it is enabling the sensation of being whole. Although being whole, it is a process, it is a process of recognition of ourselves. But well, I don't want to get deep right now in this. What I'm trying to say that it is that the connection with our emotions enables empathy with other people too, but also respect with ourselves, with our world, and what we need to, what we know that deserves to be protected. Which it is important to remind that it is not absence of healthy boundaries or space to learn. In fact, Jupiter, it is a planet that where we are transiting manifests this will. We connect with the will of wanting greater freedom, or experiences that are connecting us with that freedom. Jupiter is a planet that is linked with space for growth, and overprotecting. It is not giving space for growth. So a way of loving other people, it is also giving space. It is a way of nourishing others. Avoiding giving in excess to our loving ones, it is giving a space for them to learn to do it with themselves. So this operates the same way with children, both adults and children, but we have to respect and cultivate, this thing through the different stages of growth, and respect what they need. So With Jupiter in here, also intuition is going to talk very, very high. It's going to speak very loud. It is being opened our inner world, and we can deep in that. We can deepen in that. There could be revelations of our ancestors, past lives, whatever thing it is coming from the past. It is having a function in here for the present moment, and that is very important. I'm saying this because as I said, every transit has its lights and its shadows, and to connect with opportunities of growth, it is also important to make a space. And the Cancerian energy many times could manifest resistances in relation regarding to let go of what is known, the familiar, even if it's limited, and situations of the past that are conditioning us. So this transit could also amplify these aspects that are retaining us in spaces that are not nourishing. Just to be aware, again, just to be conscious about that. And could involve past experiences that are conditioning or familiar patterns. But precisely with Jupiter, it is this chance of transiting that with the fluidity or fluidness to go through the resistances with with confidence, with trust in what we are transiting. Cancer, it is also a sign that puts a lot of focus in the roots, in where we are coming from. And this could also be traduced in making identity in, I many times expressed my disagreement with these excesses of nationalism as an excessive identification and as an exclusion of what we think it is not belonging. I think that treating bad other people just because we think they are not belonging to our identity is a distortion of Cancer. So its shadow could be this one, making identity in nationalisms, ideas, beliefs, and dogmas that are closing ourselves and that are excluding everything that we think that is outside of that. And I am going to repeat this, but this is a strategy that totalitarian regiments have used in the past. Using a group of people as the ones that have the whole fault, and the responsibility for the imbalances of a society or a country, or whatever thing is of each one of us. We all have to do our part. So the Nazi, I don't know the word in English, but yeah, Nazis emerged with Pluto in Cancer. But again, Pluto is not Jupiter. They have distance, they are very, very distant from each other. It is just that with these squares between Jupiter and Saturn and Neptune, is going to be the third one of a series that we have experimented from August of 2024, with the first square with Jupiter in Gemini and Saturn in Pisces that was retrograde at that time. We had other one in December, and this last one that culminates the process, even if it's in a cardinal sign, in cardinal signs. So I'm just going to do a comment in here, and we're going to expand in other videos. Saturn responds to the principle of contraction and limit the boundary. Neptune doesn't have limits, doesn't have boundaries. It is the symbol of unity. It is the symbol of infinite, and this unity is cosmic and spiritual. And Jupiter, as I said, it is linked with growth and expansion. So this tension could invite us to build over our independence and individuality, and with this tension with Cancer could invite us to work on something that we have made identity, familiar programmings. Perhaps this involves a separation from the clan that could be real or symbolic. I am saying this because there could be people that are not in touch with their families, but our family, our core, the experiences that we had when we were children in the first years of life have conformed us. So many of those things that we have absorbed are not nourishing us, but there could be resources that we can take on that. Even we can take resources over the things that we can judge on our family core, or or on other people. We can turn that into food, into I am not getting the expression right now, but to nourish ourselves to go on the path. So this tension implies that there is a boundary, or there are decisions that are determining our experience in the long term. And this could have a conflict with very rooted beliefs in which we have made identity, or this is involving getting independent from something that was very, very familiar until this point. And because Neptune, it is right there in the square, it is important to not only to listen with a lot of attention to our own soul, but also to have this position to observe like self-deceits, forms of self-deceits that are emerging as a resistance. From the social point of view, this could apply the same way. It is something that a country, a group of people have made identity, repetitive patterns. This is something that it is part of our whole society. It is not a part of our of only one country. This projection of the mother and the father on the figure of authority at the moment. As a salvation, as the savior of something that we truly have to learn as individuals. And that's why the way that we are educating our children, it is very important, because it is later projected in how we are dealing with our figures of authority. This is translated, from children from father to children, through the generations. So this could be traduced in certain conflicts, restrictions also, that are coming from figures of authority and people, Cancer, not being in agreement with them. So these conflicts can be resolved when we really recognize our non-integrated shadow. And I think that the old paradigm, the old system that I call in here many times, it is not at service of anything that is nourishing. So I think it is very important to choose where we are going to put our focus. So, well, the important thing is how we are transiting our experience in the individual level, because that is what influences what happens in a social level. And with this last square, something what has been happening from August till this point, it perhaps finds a direction, and it is a culmination that it is accompanied from a new beginning. So I will amplify on this. Thank you everyone, and see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.